All right, you're welcome back. And we have been talking about the economy and the high interest rates, different policies of the government, how it is affecting our economy and the Nigerian people as well. We have been speaking with a top professional, Dr. Paul Alaje. Thank you for staying with us, Dr. Alaje.
Thank you so much for having me.
All right, quickly, yesterday we had another committee, inaugurated by the president, to administer these 2 trillion naira intervention of the federal government. And according to the Minister of Finance, it says it will be majorly about agriculture, and other things as well, and production. And many persons will say this is not the first time, especially this kind of committee that has private business owners, top business moguls like Abdul Ramad, Abdul Samad, Dangote, Otedola, and, Tony Elumelus of this world. I think this is the third of those committees that you have these people, business guys doing well in their own endeavor. Now, 2 trillion naira has been set aside to be injected into the economy to see to the betterment of people's life and properties. Just before you came, I was asking my colleague, how come we have a series of committees, almost same people as well, to administer, to help with this economy? 2 trillion naira now. Do you think we're on the way there with this?
No, we are not. We are not on the way to anywhere. The foundation, my favorite book taught me that if the foundation be destroyed, what shall the righteous do? It seems as a rhetorical question, but it's not. The first thing the righteous must do is to go back to the foundation. Let me ask you. I'm sorry, you are supposed to ask me. But what is the driver of this economy? What is driver of this economic administration? What is driving President Tinubu and his team, and all the governors, by the way? There is no single document that provides direction. Some people may just meet those in authority and say, oh, we think if you intervene in this area, one group or association may talk to administration. Oh, see, you've given that committee, let's look at another committee. No, you cannot run a successful economy like that. Look at what others that were in our situation have done to take them to a higher level of economy. So what should we do? We need a single document first that will tell us where we will see Nigeria in the next 10 years, in the next 20 years, in the next 30 years. If we need to readjust, we can readjust. But this document must be a document that we all agree to. Whether you are in PDP, whether you are in APC, or you are in Labour Party, or you are in no party at all. That will be the document that will drive all of us to economic prosperity. That document must be adopted by all state governors, by all local government, and it should have the input of the federal government. So we will now know that in the next 5 years, these are the projects we want to focus on. In the next 10 years, these are the things we want to do. We want to end medical tourism outside Nigeria. We want to build 24 best universities. Nobody will need to travel for further education. We want to ensure that all primary schools in Nigeria are free for all. We want to ensure that quality of life in Nigeria improves.
Dr. Alaje, if I may butt in
that document
here,
is not there.
Yeah,
that is why,
with
all President Buhari did, wait a moment, sir.
Yes.
All President Buhari did, 10,000 naira, market money, trader. Tell me which trader became better off? Market money. Which market has grown? All the interventionists. China did it, it failed. India did it, it failed. But today, they are different. In fact, in 1966, 67, India as a nation was known as a nation that was shipping to eat. And they had a lot of interventionist programs. Did it really help India? The answer is no. Until India understood that we need to organize ourselves and have a plan that we take our people out of economic quagmire. Not only India. In 1945, the war ended, the Second World War. The Europe and America agreed. And they had a Marshall Plan, a game plan that they are willing to implement. And look at it, in 20 to 25, 30 years, Europe became a desire of many nations to go. What is driving us? See, A Nigerian politician must know that it is not about what they drive, it's about what drives them. Whether our nation will get to destination, it's about what drives our politicians and our policymakers. It's not about what they drive.
Right. Fair enough. Still talking about, I wanted to just put a context to it, that at that meeting, the Minister of, Finance and the Coordinating Minister of Economy said the target for this 2 trillion naira intervention will be health, agriculture, and power generation. Those three will get the priority, they will be the priority of this particular intervention. Yes, we said we should have a document that everybody will agree to, irrespective of political parties. But then in the interim, because when we talk about a document, when do we get there? But some will say as well, we could have a document, a working document to work with, and we can have interventions as well. That these two are not mutually exclusive. Don't you think so?
Well, we have done 1 year already as an administration. And when we say we've done 1 year, people quickly think maybe, oh, Nigeria just started in 2003. The administration in office is APC. They've done previously 8 years. 8 years plus 1 year, that is 9 years. Now, Jonathan is also a Nigerian and is PDP. So when you had 5 years of Jonathan and have 3 years of Yaradua and had 8 years of Obasanjo, you see how long we have started this democracy. So when you say that intervention because Nigeria started yesterday, Jonathan had intervention. Shopee, it didn't work. Buhari had intervention, it didn't work. Tinubu is still going the same intervention. Does it make sense to us? It does not make any economic sense. China has stopped intervention. What China does predominantly is to create an enabling environment for manufacturing and production. Okay, let me even agree to your arguments. Let me agree to your argument for once that perhaps there are truths or what you are saying may work. Let me ask you, is Osun buying that vision of federal government? Because there are more subnational than one federal government. Nigeria is more in the hand of subnational. Is Osun, is Ondo, is Ekiti, is Kebbi, is Gombe buying into that vision? Is Kogi buying into it? We have different priorities. And that is why when you have one vision, when your goal is one, then you have a vision. But when it's two, it is division. When it's multiple, it is confusion. Doesn't it sound as though we have many priorities and there are different directions we want to go, and that is why it's not working?
Right.
Okay. All right, Dr. Alaje, well, spoken there. We do not have a direction. We don't have the direction we should be following as a country. Now, this statement, this is where the public and private sector will work together. We will advise the government on the type of policies needed to revamp the economy. Our economy can be turned around in a few months. Things will soon change. We will work to make sure that things change for the better. This statement is credited to Aliko Dangote, the chairman of Dangote Group at the Presidential Economic Coordination Council, PECC, that was inaugurated yesterday by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu. This statement of Aliko Dangote saying that the economy can be turned around in few months when there is a handshake of the public and private sector. Do you see it as rhetoric, or you see it as something that can happen?
Well, I believe it can happen, but the question will be, why has it not happened? If you spend 20 years to rehearse madness, when are you going to practice it? When exactly are we going to take decision? The private sector in Nigeria is not new. The public sector is not new. Why are we not having the handshake? Because of environment. The environment is not enabling enough for investment, for Nigeria to retain investment. The policies at best are not right. The same Aliko Dangote just told you about 30% interest rate. That is for commercial banks. Do you know how much money lenders are giving out loans? Minimum of 72%, maximum of 240%.
Oh, wow.
So if we don't have coordination centrally, I'm afraid we might not get the kind of economy that we want.
And, they say that economy is being driven most of the time or built by the medium and small scale, enterprises. Do you think President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration is really focusing on the MSMEs at the moment?
Well, focusing on MSME is not about talking about them. It's about providing support to them. And when I say support, it's not about 50,000, 100,000 we are giving to them. What would they need that we enhance their operations? First is electricity. What we have seen for SMEs that are within the band A, they have to pay almost 300%. Would you call that a support? I don't think so. That will increase their costs. If it increases their costs as a result of policy, what do you think will happen to prices? Price of their finished good, whenever they finish their production or service, the price will be higher. When prices are higher, what happens to inflation? Inflation will be high. So think about it. Are we not chasing our own tail? Central Bank will now wake up from one policy made from Minister of Power of increased band A electricity bill, which has also been increased again. Central Bank will now say, oh, there is high inflation. So when you look at all of this, are we truly supporting SMEs? Because the environment aren't there. Or you leave that, go to farmers, and go back to their farms to farm because of insecurity. Are we truly supporting them? I can tell you that I love you. I can tell you I like you. I can tell you I support you. But my actions are completely opposite of my statement. Now, would you say that I truly do? I think the answer would be a no.
So you do not think the 2 trillion naira to be injected into the economy? I mean, the breakdown now, 350 billion naira for health and social welfare, 500 billion naira for agriculture and food spending, 500 billion naira for energy and the power sector, and 650 billion naira for general business support. You do not think that will make a difference if we have this 2 trillion naira injected?
From 2015 to 2023, we have spent multiple of those money on those sectors. Show me the difference. Just show me. In budget, not even intervention, we have spent multiples, it didn't work. So what difference will this make? What difference?
So what exactly?
See, I work with the number and the impact.
Okay.
I'm not a politician, so I'm not looking at, oh, what sounds good in the ears of people. See, economics has process. You cannot drop in the middle in the name of quick fix that you want a solution. I am sorry. Wait. This policy will, in the next 3 to 6 months, let's talk again. Let's talk again.
But you just said that it's possible for the economy to be turned around in a few months, as Aliko Dangote said. But what are the quick fixes that can that can make that happen?
First, so it will first start with signaling. What I expect the president to do is that, Osun State, for instance, we want to start 4 industrial zones or 3 industrial zones, 1 per senatorial district. All the agro output, we want to process and finish them in Osun, and government is going to support for this thing to be exported and for Nigeria to consume them. They said when the music change, an Hausa proverb, when music change, dance must change. If you are playing slow song and they turn it to Makosa, everybody will start dancing Makosa. Then I will know that we are truly ready to go on the path. 2, we now know that we have decided to coordinate the economy differently. But this policy of sharing money, giving 10 billion naira to states and targeting people, looking for register of farmers and all of those, go to the field, collect data. How many farmers? Anchor borrowers program. How many farmers? The price of rice, did it reduce with all the rice intervention? How much are you buying rice now? So we have to be deliberate, a linkage, end to end. And by the way, Nigeria is not the only country facing this.
Yeah.
So I'm not trying to cast aspersion on governors and on president. No. What concerns me as a citizen of this country is that my own country become better. That's what concerns me.
In the country becoming better, Dr. Alaje, we have limited time with you, I should say. Recently, the Director General, I just want your take on this, the Director General of the Manufacturers Association of Nigeria, MAN Segun Ajayi Kadir, said that the recent exit of some multinational companies from Nigeria offers a golden opportunity for homegrown manufacturers to thrive in the country with proper government empowerment.
I disagree with him. He's my friend, he's my brother, but I've always disagreed with him on that.
Okay, why?
That argument does not make economic sense. Do you now mean that I create opportunity for manufacturer? Workers there will automatically migrate and start working in the local home. That the idea does not stop local from starting their home. The more the merrier. They should not have left in the first instance. Now they will go produce in Ghana, close to the coast, and export to Nigeria. He will forget his own statement.
And
when they tell you political economics, it doesn't work. I disagree with him. I'm a manufacturer myself.
Interesting.
I'm a manufacturer myself.
Yeah.
So what he said, I completely disagree with him. And I've said it openly that what he said is not economics and it does not agree with. So it does not mean that people cannot have opportunity.
Yeah.
But let me ask you, which opportunity? At 30% interest rates. When the biggest manufacturer in Nigeria is telling us things are not good. The associational head is now telling us that it's an opportunity. Which opportunity?
So to you, what he said does not make any economic sense.
Does that stop you from producing?
All right.
And tell me, how do you attract foreign direct investment? How do you put more money in your vote as a nation? How do you NFX? It may sound good, but it is not correct. Now something is good does not mean it's done correctly. That something is correct does not mean it's done correctly.
All right. Interesting, economic words and jargon here. I've just heard when you said political economics. Interesting to know that. Quickly, as we round off, in June, it was reported that Nigeria's debt is up by 24.33 trillion naira, and is now, that was in June, 121.67 trillion naira. That's how much. The public debt is now 121.67 trillion naira, which is 91.46 billion naira, and that was from the DMO, Debt Management Office. And the reason attributed to that from them, part of it was attributed to a new borrowing undertaken to partly finance the 2024 budget deficit and the securitarization of a portion of the 7.3 trillion naira ways and means advances at the Central Bank of Nigeria. Average Nigerians will always say, oh, they are borrowing. Can we pay that? Won't our generations be paying? Generations yet unborn be paying about these things. And then you see government handler says we are still within the threshold of borrowing, that every nation borrows. But with what we are seeing now, Dr. Alaje, you are the economics heir, should we be worried? And, talking about the budget as well, we are hearing more different budget documents being run in Nigeria. Overlapping budget from 2023, the 2024 budget, we are hearing of another supplementary budget, and there is a whole lot of confusion, even at the National Assembly. And we are talking about the debt right now. What is going on? Should we be worried, or we are still within the threshold of borrowing?
The threshold is so nominal. Now, let me start by saying that debt is neither good nor bad. It depends on what you do with it. Talking about threshold, in economics, there are 3 standard rules that you follow to tell you whether you should still borrow or not. The first one, which we call necessary but not sufficient. That is, if this rule is good, if you pass it, it's not a sufficient reason for you to continue. It just tells you that you can progress. To check the second reason. The first reason is, what is your debt to GDP? Which is the elementary one. Countries, through their National Assembly, set their debt to GDP. Nigeria set it at 40%. I'm not sure it was increased to 50%. Right now, it's more than 50%. Nigerians authorities are very quick to compare ourselves with Japan, with America. We are not Japan, we are not America. The second reason, or the second check, we tell also, go to the second check. The second check says, what is your debt service to revenue? For a nation, a developing nation, it should not be more than 33% or 33.3%, 1/3 of our revenue. As we speak, debt service and sinking fund is far beyond 33.3%. In fact, it was going to 98% before government surged revenue through subsidy removal and what do we call it now? An exchange rate and naira devaluation. Even at that, it's still more than 33.3%. So should we continue to borrow? Now that you know that necessary condition says yes, the most important condition is called sufficient condition. It says no. So if the conditions are saying no, why should we continue? Let's go to the third rule, which says measure the impact of debt on your economy. The least it should be is 50%. How do you measure that? Measure your GDP growth rate and debt growth rate. Our debt has grown in the last 10 years on the average of 20% and more. Our GDP growth has always been in the average of 2.5%. So that tells you that our debt is running like Usain Bolt, while our GDP growth rate is running like a 9-month pregnant woman.
And, you know, the question, two questions. I said, should we be worried or we are just there? We are neither here nor there.
My analysis should tell you we should be seriously worried. My analysis should tell you we should have stopped several months ago. That's what my analysis just told you.
Yeah. And, you know, one will say, so how do we finance these things? And I want you to quickly add this. With what is going on at the
I'll
National
tell you
Assembly.
how to finance. Osun State, for instance, is losing 20 billion naira every year. Uncollected revenue.
All right. You know, one of these days.
Those who are renting, see, states are losing money. Federal government is losing money. And this does not mean you should tax people. You saw what happened in Kenya. It has nothing to do with direct taxation. You know, people and organizations that have multi-trillion naira that are doing business in Osun, that are doing business in Gombe, that are doing business in Sokoto, but not paying enough.
Yeah.
That's where your money's at.
All right, Dr. Alaje.
So if you're not collecting it, nobody's to blame.
Yeah, one of these days we will have you to talk about, you know, home economics, if I may use that one. Things you can do to better our lives, you know, beyond what is happening at the center. And, you know, in fact, something that what is going on with the budget confusion, many persons are wondering what's going on, because they told us there are some implementations, there are some features, you know, that had to overlap, you know, some things in the 2023 budget. And then there was the supplementary budget that was done when President Tinubu came in. We are still having that. There is the 2024 budget that's, you know, that have been approved. We are running that. And then we are hearing of a supplementary budget that might come out any moment from now. And many persons are saying, are we having 3 documents that we are running or a possible 4th one? What is really going on, especially? And these are things that the National Assembly should be interrogating. But it seems we are just there. Nobody is really asking questions. You are the economist. Is that the situation, or Nigerians are just paranoid for nothing?
Well, you talk about increase in money supply. And we are still, that's for monetary authority. But fiscal authority, because our largest fiscal document is the budget. Fiscal authority is saying pump more money to the economy. Monetary authority is saying that increase interest rates, cut money supply. Are you now seeing, now as a journalist, as a very you are not an economist, I agree, but you don't need an economist to know this now. Have you not seen why, with all the monetary authorities are doing, is not bringing out any results? Because on one hand, we are saying cut the increase the rate, do this, but fiscal authority say, please, I beg, they do your own. Sorry to use local balance. They continue to inject the economy. So you are still loading the economy. And of course, it will bring some sort of confusion in the system. But we'll only watch and see.
All right, would like to thank you sincerely, Paul Alaje, PhD, the Chief Economist, SPM Professionals. Thank you so much for your time, your take, your thoughts and submission on the subject matter this morning. It's always a pleasure to have you on board.
Thank you so very much for having me.
All right, that's the conversation this morning, all about Nigeria's economy. And probably we should refer to ourselves as journal economists, as it is right now. Everyone is an economist, and everyone wants to be an economist. And this is where we actually are in the country, where everyone just wants to know what is happening. In your home, you want to, you know, create that little economy and know how you are able to survive. I think actually in the present
everybody
Nigeria.
is an economist of some sort, because the moment you have a budget, and if your household, your people are going outside the budget,
your income and your expenditure,
you should let them know we can afford these things, we can afford these things. Give me some time, there are projections. Anybody is an economist. Give me till month end. Let me take my salary, let me have my wages, let them pay me somewhere, and then we can fund this in a kind of way. We have always been economists.
And you know what actually stuck out for me was what Dr. Alaje said about us having a document, the document that can actually drive
Yeah.
our economy. So we have a goal, we have a focus, and we have a vision we are looking forward to. Nigeria must actually prosper in our time. And this is why we have this conversation, so that you can make better and informed choices. You can watch a recap of this edition on our YouTube channel at Western Spring Television. Connect with us on Facebook, Instagram, and X at Western Spring Television. Would like to hear from you. My name is Evelyn Ohiolei.
All right, and you talked about, and Dr. Alaje talked about the national economy policy document.
Yeah.
Many persons will even say, do we even have a national document in which everybody can see themselves inside, irrespective of political party? This is our identity, and this is what we are doing.
Even our constitution is being contested as it is.
These are the issues. But then we keep talking, we keep asking these questions. We hope, and we sincerely do believe, we will make headway very soon. And as we always say, she said it, Nigeria must prosper. It will prosper even beyond us. FEMI Ojo's money. Thank you for staying with us all week. It's been our pleasure. God willing, we'll be back on Monday, but then spring trends will follow now. Good morning.